The NBA finally made its return. We are officially in the season that sports fans dream of, when the MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, and soccer are all in full effect heading towards the end of the year. But this week was the greatest opening to an NBA season that I've ever seen. And it began with Tuesday night. Opening day, excitement, joy in the air, and the Oklahoma City Thunder were opening the season getting their championship ring for their success that they had from the previous season. The first ever championship in Thunder history, and fans showed up to see the banner be raised as they are immortalized in basketball greatness. But usually the opening day games are more tame. The team that won the championship is happy to have just done that and will sort of coast through their first game. And most players are just trying to play themselves back into basketball shape. So there's not the same intensity that you find later in the season. But from game one, the Thunder took on the Houston Rockets, who just added NBA legend, future Hall of Famer Kevin Durant to their team. And it was a dogfight. They went back and forth throughout the entire game, and it couldn't be resolved in regulation. They went to 2 overtimes, where the Thunder proved that they still have that great system, that they still can continue to find success with their offensive system that orbits around the NBA MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So we got to start with what will likely be one of the best games that we see all season long. But it didn't stop there. On the same night, it was the debut for NBC, who purchased broadcasting rights to the NBA. The NBC, alongside Amazon, will have the rights to many primetime basketball games. So in this debut, NBC got to show all the new designs that they've put together, their new commentators, Carmelo Anthony, Blake Griffin, so on and so forth. But possibly the biggest of them all was the debut of Michael Jordan, who they revealed every week will be having an episode to a show with the purpose of sharing insights into what it's like pursuing greatness. He can commentate on what he's seeing in the NBA games for the given week, or just share a personal anecdote. If you're enjoying this clip, please like and subscribe for more content like this, and you can click the link in the description to the full episode of this podcast. In this case, the first episode of this show was Michael Jordan talking about, now in his older age, still battling against the younger version of himself. And the way he revealed that was a personal anecdote where he claimed that he hadn't picked up a basketball in years. And recently, in front of a bunch of kids, was asked to make a free throw. And he said it was the most pressure that he had felt in a long time. Crazy to say, from a 6-time championship, 2-time 3P, NBA MVP, illustrious resume that has too many things to mention. This was pressure to the same guy that did all of those things when he was an NBA player. But to him, what created the pressure was the question of, do I still have that same guy in me? And of course, you can predict how the story ended. He's Michael Jordan. He made this free throw. But the way that he told the story had a gravity to it. And he naturally builds a curiosity in those who watch, because to many, he's not just known as Michael Jordan. This is the greatest basketball player of all time. So when that guy is sharing insights with people, your ears perk up. I and many other basketball fans have a ton of excitement surrounding what could potentially come from Michael Jordan putting his all into this series. So those two things started off the season with a bang. But then we get to Wednesday night, where the primetime game of the night was the San Antonio Spurs against the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks had the #1 pick in the NBA draft. They took Cooper Flagg out of Duke, and he's surrounded with the pieces that the Dallas Mavericks got back from trading Luka Doncic last season. Anthony Davis and Max Christie. Kyrie Irving is injured right now, but will be a part of the team. Klay Thompson was there playing. But on the flip side, the story of the night was Victor Wembanyama, the superstar young player for the San Antonio Spurs. Last season, his series came to an end because of blood clots in his system, something that threatened to potentially end his basketball career altogether just a couple years into it. So over the summer, he went and had a completely different outlook on life. He went and trained with monks in mountains. He went and met with all-time NBA legends Hakeem Olajuwon and Kevin Garnett to get a better glimpse into the mindset and approach that they used to become so great at the game of basketball, and came back this season with a vengeance, wanting to play every game as if it was his last. Even if it's game one where he absolutely dominated the Dallas Mavericks. Wembanyama is somewhere between 7'5" and 7'7" in his height and dribbles the basketball like he's 6 foot tall. He shoots the ball as good as any player in the NBA. And when he gets to the paint, he's so large and has such long arms that he can dunk over any player, even if it's one of the best defensive players in the NBA in Anthony Davis, who he had struggling to stay in front of him all night long. The things that Victor Wembanyama is doing at this height has never been seen before. It's so unbelievable that his nickname being the Alien is warranted. And no matter how illustrious my vocabulary could potentially be in describing it, it truly is one of those things that you have to see to believe. People used to go crazy over Kevin Durant being 6'8", 6'9", dribbling the ball like a point guard. Wembanyama is nearly 10 inches taller than Kevin Durant and playing like him, but even better, because he's so long and mobile that he's also already being considered one of the greatest defenders in NBA history. So the basketball world was in awe as they watched a much more developed version of Victor Wembanyama dominate all night long in a way that looks sustainable as long as he stays healthy. And right before he staked his claim taking over the basketball world, the Philadelphia 76ers took on the Boston Celtics. And what we witnessed in that game was VJ Edgecombe, a top 5 draft pick in the NBA draft this season, having the greatest debut for a rookie since LeBron James, as he dropped 34 points on his way to sealing a win for his team. And already this draft class looks better than the one from last season. And there were even more great stories that took place over the weekend. Shea ended up dropping a 55-point career-high game the following day. And that game was followed up by Aaron Gordon on the Denver Nuggets dropping 50 points of his own to win a game. The theme of the opening to the NBA season so far is intensity. Players are playing like this is fringe playoff time, and it makes for a significantly better product on the court. But as much as I could continue listing all of these great storylines that progressed forward this opening week, the biggest theme that lies underneath it is the fact that there's been so much success with these games with attention given to young players while LeBron James has been injured. LeBron is not expected to play until mid-November while he's nursing an injury. And it feels like for someone who rarely suffered any significant injuries throughout his career, his body is truly starting to wear down for the oldest player in the NBA. But while he was on the bench, the start to the NBA season opening day was the most viewed opening day in NBA history when you count social media views, which we know didn't exist until recent decades. But that's a significant marker because in the recent years, there's been concern that once LeBron James leaves the game, that there will be a significant drop-off in viewership. Currently, LeBron James and Steph Curry have been leading for multiple years in terms of average viewership per game. When those two play, people want to watch. And the drop-off from those two to the next best person is enormous. But when you know that's coming, it's the job of the commissioner, the NBA offices to prepare for that. And the way you do that is starting to build stories around the young players. And seeing that people have been tuning in for the LeBron-less games, getting excited about Victor Wembanyama potentially becoming the greatest player of all time, rookies like VJ Edgecombe playing well, is revealing to me that the NBA might already be set up well for LeBron's departure, which is a good thing for the league and a good thing for LeBron as he won't need to continuously be dragged and pulled into the NBA world. When Michael Jordan left, that was the biggest drop that the NBA had seen. The superstars before Michael Jordan that really elevated the NBA were Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. But they let the NBA off the hook because when they departed, Michael Jordan had arrived. Michael Jordan got to play against Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. So when those two retired, it was Michael Jordan's time, Michael Jordan's era, and that elevated the NBA to the highest peak that it ever experienced. When he left, we had Kobe, Shaq, Tim Duncan, exciting players like Allen Iverson, eventually LeBron coming into the league, but the decline took many years to recover from because the allure of watching the greatest to ever do something was that massive that it carried NBA viewership. Then it came back when LeBron established himself in Miami and Cleveland as the greatest in the world, and the NBA got gifted the rivalry between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then we saw a slight dip, we head into COVID, and the NBA has been trying to reach the same heights once again. But viewership aside, there are many young, great talents in the NBA. This might be the most talented the league has ever been. And with social media, the personalities of players who don't even necessarily need to be the best in the world can carry them even more as they become fan favorites. So this opening week was a great sign of things to come, and I hope that these players can maintain the same intensity for the majority of the season, because it'll be a better product for people watching the games. It will bring in more revenue to sustain interest and people wanting to become NBA players and seeing talent improve over time. And it'll make the individual stories for the teams and players that much more interesting. So we'll watch and see if the league can maintain this momentum.